Now let's begin the conversation. A nation that neglects its workforce neglects its future. The Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF, is re-echoing this truth by pushing for stronger, data-driven reforms in the country's social security framework. At the 2025 retreat for the National Assembly Joint Committee on Employment, Labour and Productivity held in Lagos, NSITF Managing Director Oluwaseun Faleye called for full implementation of the Employee Compensation Scheme to secure Nigerian workers against workplace hazards. Backed by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Mohammed Dingyadi, the call for reform is anchored on the belief that a protected and motivated workforce is a more productive one. According to Dingyadi, a robust ECS is not just an economic policy, it's a moral obligation that ensures employees don't fall into destitution when life takes an unexpected turn. The retreat themed Building a Sustainable Future, Strengthening Social Security and Enhancing Labour Productivity in Nigeria brought stakeholders together in agreement that inclusive reforms and expanded coverage are key to ensuring long-term sustainability of Nigeria's labour force. Now let's hear more from this report.
At a recent retreat of the National Assembly Joint Committees on Labour, Employment and Productivity, conversations centered on the role of social security in achieving economic resilience with NSITF emerging as a focal point of reform efforts. The fund's turnaround under Managing Director Oluwaseun Faleye was acknowledged, particularly in the area of prompt claim processing and institutional accountability.
We are here in Lagos today because we understand that transformation is a continuous journey, not a destination. This retreat is therefore not a ceremonial exercise. It's a working mission, even though the National Assembly is in recess. The motivation and commitment of members to be here this morning, despite that, in their large numbers, speaks to your commitment to these issues. It is therefore an open invitation to reimagine how governance, oversight, and operational leadership can reinforce the values of safety, justice, inclusion, and impact.
But participants at the retreat also emphasized that legal backing and state-level enforcement remain major gaps in Nigeria's social security ecosystem, one that still leaves many workers unprotected.
Equitable compensation to the employee who suffers diseases, injuries, and disabilities, or in the case of death, to their dependents. Other benefits include, but not limited to, ensuring children of the deceased worker are taken care of and educated to degree level. Secondly, payment of medical bills of beneficiaries. And thirdly, providing vocational rehabilitation to get the worker back on the path of productivity.
As stakeholders push for a broader legislative framework and increase public awareness, the spotlight remains on how well NSITF can sustain its reforms and deepen trust in social insurance system.
Ensure workplace standards.
With unemployment and underemployment still a challenge in Nigeria, many believe social protection is no longer optional, but a necessity. Sharon Ijason, TVC News.
Okay, thank you so much, Sharon. Now, because the NSITF is calling for bold reforms to boost social security and labor productivity as well. But let's look at the reforms one after the other. What specific reforms, does the NSITF chairman believes are necessary to modernize Nigeria's social protection framework?
Yes, as far as it's concerned, there is need for data-driven policies and a much better framework for handling the mandate of the NSITF, which is essentially social protection. in a manner that makes it very, very of so much value to the Nigerian people. Every worker, whether in public or private sector, contributes, every employer of labor contributes 1% of his payroll to this fund, and it is compulsory. It's only the military, the armed forces, that are exempted based on the Act, which was amended in 2024. So what the chairman is basically saying is, look, we must continue to innovate. We must continue to come up with bold reforms that will make the NSITF much more relevant than it is now. If we ask, many people out there do not even know what the
NSITF is all about.
NSITF does. But he's convinced that they can do much better. But you can only do better if you show a commitment to growth, a commitment to reform. You must constantly, ask yourself questions. What can we do better? And technology is key to achieving a lot of his aims. That's why he talked about data-driven policies and bold reforms that will enable the NSITF much better. And it is also talked about a good corporate governance framework, as they go on. So it's a good thing. The chairman has a good background in corporate Nigeria, so he understands what the issues are. He understands what needs to be done. He's worked in the oil sector. He has tremendous experience, and he's also a forward-looking person. I've known him long before he got this appointment, and I know what he's capable of doing. So I'm really positive about what the future holds for this key agency in the Ministry of Labor and Employment.
All right, Adekunle Yusuf, now BKO talked about technology. What role will technology play in ensuring, in monitoring workers' welfare and employer contribution?
Yeah, you need data in everything you want to do. This is a modern world now.
Yes.
You need data, and data can fit into policy.
Okay.
So when you have data, you want to plan. Data helps you to know what to do and what not to do. And it can also help you in resource allocation. Apart from the policies you want to put forward, the kind of where you should, push majority of your, resources, you will see through data. So in Nigeria, for example, we have a high level of unemployment, but despite that, many people don't know. If you ask many workers, they still don't know this important agency.
Sure.
So they still need to do a lot to educate Nigerian workers first, even before the general public. And many people still don't know that this agency is not only for maybe federal workers, or it's for all workers, including the ones in the informal sector.
Now, the protection of the informal workers and the casual workers, is there protection for them?
That is where I am going. That when you have data, if you go into our economy, I don't know of anywhere in the world where you have this high level of casualization. And why it is permitted in our country, despite the fact that the laws, are very clear on this practice. But it happens. Go to all our industrial areas and you see what our people go through when they, express their opinions. But now, if you have data, many of these things can be monitored. Without data, because you're talking about technology, with technology, you can see what is going on in several places from and this helps you to monitor.
Okay.
And when you do that, because when we talk about social security for them, we are talking about welfare.
Yes.
When people fall sick, when people have work-related, accidents,
and all.
And so on and so forth. It is the duty of this important agency, to go into that, to make sure that you provide when it is possible.
Absolutely.
Then training and retraining and sensitization is also part of this, duties of this agency.
All right, gentlemen, beautiful one. So let's